What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for lineups.com. Let's talk a little Thursday night football. An absolute banger, a gem of a game, an incredibly important game. Couldn't be more important to kick off week number 16 in the NFL. We are in for a treat, no doubt, as the Rams head on the road up to Seattle to play the Seahawks. As we get going here, guys, of course, as always, everything we do here absolutely free. Hit that subscribe button down below. Here we go. 1.5 in favor of Seattle at home in this one. 42.5 is our total. If you think the Rams win this thing outright, a little bit of plus money at plus 105 there on the money line. These are my two top power rated teams. Rams 1, Seahawks 2. I think pretty much everybody's power ratings out there have some sort of iteration of these two teams in 1 and 2. I think most likely you're going to have the Rams at 1, but I've seen a couple that have the Seahawks at 1 and the Rams at 2, but pretty much the top two teams in the NFL in everybody's power ratings. If we go over here, we take a look what we're going to get from an injury standpoint. Both teams pretty good this late in the season, quite honestly. Now, the worst part about it, though, is one of the injuries that is going to be in this game is going to be Davante Adams. And the thing is listed as doubtful. As we know, doubtful is basically out as it is anyway, and doubtful is definitely out whenever we're talking about a short week. So going to have to be doing this without Davante Adams out there. Guy has been just nails in the red zone, leads the NFL in touchdown receptions, just Matthew Stafford's favorite target when he gets down there to the red zone. Down here for the Seahawks, you can see pretty clean report, except you are down tackle in Charles Cross. So again, not a lot of injuries for either team, but important injuries on each side here as you have an offensive lineman and then your really key red zone receiver is out there on the Rams side of things. Now, flip over here. This is Weather Channel. Of course, it's Seattle. It's December. What could be going on? So here is our hourly forecast. Now, this is going to be Pacific time. So Pacific time, this game's going to kick off about 5 o'clock. You can see we're going to have low 50s, which that's not that big of a concern, but rain and wind. As you can see, I mean, this is fairly significant wind. I mean, when we're talking about sustained here, that's a pretty decent little sustained wind. And then also that means gusts are going to be higher than that, right? So whenever we see, 16 mile an hour sustained, that means gusts could be, 25 miles an hour, stuff like that. And so that certainly does affect the pass game, kick game, things like that. So stuff for us to keep an eye on as we get a little bit closer to game time. Of course, this stuff can vary, and maybe it's more on the 10 mile an hour side than the 17 mile an hour side, but stuff that we definitely need to pay attention to as we get a little bit closer to kickoff. So, like I said, the Rams are my number one power ranked team. So for me, it's very tough for me to, even with the Davante Adams injury, get away from the Rams here in this game. Now, I'm just you're really kind of like splitting hairs here. I mean, if you want to talk advantages and things in this game, obviously Matthew Stafford you trust more than you trust Sam Darnold. From a wide receiver position, it's a push, right? Because without Davante Adams out there, now it's Puka Nacua versus JSN, the top two receivers in the NFL. There's no real advantage there on that side. If you look at the offensive line, both of these teams have good offensive lines. You look at the defenses. Now, Seattle's defense has been absolutely elite, where the Rams defense has just been good, but it's not like this Rams defense is a pushover if at all, and so you just start to tick down and tick down and tick down, and maybe you want to go with Seattle because it's a home field advantage type situation. If that's the deal, I'm not going to talk you off of that, but you come down to the sidelines. I think McDonald and McVay, probably two of the top 5 coaches in the NFL. I mean, they're really, if you're talking about what separates these teams from a real big standpoint, because I don't think anything else on the field is a big difference. Yes, Seattle's defense is better. It's not exponentially better than the Rams defense. I think it just comes down to whether you believe that Matthew Stafford is better than Sam Darnold. If you trust Matthew Stafford more than you trust Sam Darnold. And, of course, Matthew Stafford having an MVP caliber season. And I think that's where my initial gut feeling really does go here. And it's look, if this was a standalone game this Sunday as opposed to being an island game this Sunday, would people be as attracted to bet this game? I don't know. Probably not, because again, you're really just picking nits here, trying to figure out the difference in these two teams. It's why the spread is what it is. Then you throw in at least a little bit of weirdness with a weather situation. Who does that favor? Does that favor Darnold? Does that favor Stafford? Does that favor either one of these teams' run games now? These are all things that you have to decipher with you're just really picking nits. Now, the one thing that I did play in this game with confidence, again, all that to say that it would be the Rams for me or nothing here in this one, because again, they are at least power ranked ahead of Seattle. I am at least catching points, and I do at least trust Matthew Stafford more than I trust Sam Darnold. That's unfortunately the conclusion that you come to at the end of this game. That being said, touchdown score is something that I do believe is a pretty interesting market here in this one, because if you look, there is somebody that I do believe benefits a lot from, well, not a lot, but is the bigger beneficiary in this offense with the removal of Davante Adams. And I don't think Puka Nacua just has his role. He's not going to get more targets because Davante Adams is now there. He can't get more targets than he's already getting. Like Puka Nacua just has his role. So those targets don't like funnel towards Puka Nacua. He just keeps his role as the uber alpha receiver on this team. So it does at least trickle down. I think it actually doesn't necessarily go to another wide receiver as much as it does to Colby Parkinson, the tight end. And so Colby Parkinson, by the way, very quietly has become one of Matthew Stafford's favorite targets. He has put together multi-catch games. He had a monster game last week. You're getting plus 240 on an anytime touchdown for Colby Parkinson. If you wanted to go first touchdown, which, by the way, they run this special here at MGM where if your guy scores second, you actually get that bet back in bonus bets if that happens. If you wanted to go 12-1, if you wanted to kind of like split the stuff between the two here, it's 12-1 on him to score first touchdown, plus 240 on an anytime. We'll talk about him a little bit more here in just a second. But if there is any sort of weakness in this very, very good Seattle defense, they have at least been a little bit vulnerable over the middle to tight ends. The only real big performances against this defense, above average performances against this defense on a regular basis, has actually been tight ends. And Parkinson's role has increased a decent amount for this offense. So I think if they can get down in the red zone, Parkinson, where Davante Adams was a huge, huge factor for this team, again, leading the NFL in touchdown receptions, Parkinson fills that void. So a little bit of first touchdown, a little bit of anytime touchdown here for Parkinson. Now let's go to some of these player props over here. And I do want to go to the receiving. So like I said, while I love Parkinson in kind of filling the role of red zone guy, maybe where Davante Adams was kind of like go pick up the first down guy, chains guy, and stuff like that, I think his number is still too low at 38.5. I'm kind of playing the all-in on Parkinson game here that he is going to be the biggest recipient of the fact that Davante Adams isn't out there. But this is the other guy. Now, this has gone up a yard since yesterday. But Kanata Mumpfield is just sitting at 10 yards, right? I'm going to pull up an article here from Rams Wire. You can see Rams OC praises rookie wide receiver who has similar traits to Davante Adams. And they are talking about, again, right here, Kanata Mumpfield. And you go in and you go down, there's a there's something in this article that's a little bit interesting, more than just the fact that he was kind of being groomed to be the replacement there, or, you know, a protege or whatever of Davante Adams, but more about this. Look at this. He had played between 38 and 45% of the snaps in the last 4 games as it was anyway. Now, that wasn't equaling a ton of stats, but he was out on the field over a third, nearly half the time over the last 4 games as it was anyway. And now you remove Adams. So what if it's like, this is the low, you know, what if this is now the absolute low that he's going to be out there half the time? What if this actually turns into 55 or 65% of the time? So there is, I think, again, we're just looking for opportunity, right? And so with that, again, if we're getting him out there for half the snaps or maybe more, picking up some extra role here with Adams on the sideline, then, you know, whatever, 9 yards, 9 yards we're looking at, 9.5 yards. 10 yards is just, that's just too small. So I played over 8.5 last night, 9.5, still fine. We could get that on 1 catch. If we can get 2 catches out of him, then, you know, we're home for sure, very easily. But we're kind of going to go with the trend here. It's like everyone thinks it's like Tutu Atwell is going to be the guy that benefits, or that it's Terrence Ferguson. Again, just doing my research, digging in, I actually think it's Mumpfield, and this number is just super, super small here for him. So that's how we're going to play that. And hopefully the Rams offensive coordinator wasn't pulling our leg there when he was talking about that he was the similar trait guy to Davante Adams. So that's where we're at with this one, guys. Again, just an absolute banger of a game. Cannot wait to watch this one. It is the top 2 teams in the NFL, 2 teams that have Super Bowl aspirations, the top 2 wide receivers in the NFL, just everything that we got going on here. Just a super, super Thursday night football game. If you haven't done so already, guys, hit that subscribe button down below. Let us know in the comment section how you're going to play this game, and good luck on all your Thursday night football bets.